Welcome back to the Tracy Take. Today, Ryan and I will be previewing the Week 14 matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals. But before we get into that, sorry, Rue is all excited for us to do this video.
Oh yeah.
Ryan and I, we have a goal of trying to get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year, and any help is much appreciated by both Ryan and myself. So if you have not already and you're new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, comment on this video, and let us know what your thoughts are on who's going to win this game. Share this video with your 49ers and Bengals friends. And Ryan, let's get into it. This is a critical game. Critical game. The 49ers are 6-6 after a kind of shocking loss to the Seattle Seahawks last week. And the Bengals are 7-5 with also, I would say, somewhat of a shocking. The way they lost was shocking, I would say, to the Los Angeles Chargers. They're now 7-5, 6 overall. Actually, both teams are 6 overall in the NFC, in the playoff hunt. Scratch that. 49ers are 7th, just behind Washington. But still, nonetheless, still very critical. And the loser of this game is going to have a really tough time making the playoffs because it is very competitive now at this point in the season with only 5 weeks left. What do you think each team has to do to rebound from their shocking loss last week to win this game?
So I think the 49ers just kind of need to regroup. I think mentally that's a game they should have won, and I think they kind of went into it with that mindset. And I think mentally they just need to go back to the drawing board, just take it back to the fundamentals, and just kind of get back out there and just play football and not think about winning, losing, and just playing football. Other than that, continue feeding George Kittle. He had a huge game, and maybe attack this passing offense a little more, or the passing defense a little more, because it's one of the worst in the league. Sorry, I just dropped a pen. And this is a really good running defense, actually. So definitely throwing the football for the 49ers. And the Bengals, on the other hand, it was a really interesting game that they played last week. We have a video about that out. But to me, there were really two moments that kind of changed the tide for the Bengals. In the first quarter, they had a deep pass to Jamar Chase that he dropped, just like a blatant drop. And you just can't do that. That stalled a drive that they were going on, and kind of allowed the Chargers to go on this like long 24 unanswered point streak in the first half. And then in the second half, they got some stuff rolling. It was 22-24. They were moving the football, and then Joe Mixon fumbled, and it was returned for a touchdown. And so I think for the Bengals to kind of get back into the swing of things, they really need to just eliminate the mistakes, keep those drives going, and if you get the opportunity to make a big play, you have to catch the football. So that for me is kind of the keys to the game. I definitely think this 49ers team is more well-balanced. I think they might have a little bit worse of a passing game than a running game, especially with Deebo Samuel questionable. He adds another element to this offense. But it's an interesting game.
Yeah, and so that's actually, I think that's a great segue into what I was going to say is I think the reason why the 49ers lost last week is they were missing their best player on the offensive side of the ball, Deebo Samuel. He was out with a groin injury. He is possible to come back. I saw he's day-to-day. He might play, but one of the things here, especially they'll want Deebo Samuels, as you said, Cincinnati Bengals have the number 4 running defense in the league, only allowing 92.5 yards per game. Is they like to bring Deebo Samuel in the backfield, especially as of late. Use him as a gadget guy. Against Minnesota, he had a 2-touchdown game, but he only had 1 catch. And he had, I think it was 100 rushing yards or something like that. Like he had himself a game running the ball. And he's able to catch the ball he's able to catch the ball anywhere in the field. He's already over 1,000 yards receiving on the year, which is insane. And then combine that with George Kittle, it does add some. It does make that offense way more dynamic. And if he's able to play, San Francisco has a good chance to win this game, just with how versatile Kyle Shanahan likes to make his offense, putting guys in motion, getting specific guys open, such as Deebo Samuel. On the flip side, with Cincinnati, I think that they have an opportunity to really I would say capitalize on San Francisco 49ers run game that isn't the strongest. They did not have their best performance last week against the Los Angeles Chargers, which has the worst running defense. I think that they want to kind of right the wrongs. Joe Mixon wants to come back and kind of make up for that fumble that was returned for the touchdown. And I agree with you. That was a huge momentum shift in that game. But even if we look at the 49ers, like their run defense, the yards allowed that they have allowed every game. They've only allowed 3 games since their bye week with less than 100 yards. That was when they played the Rams, and they blew them out from the get-go. The Rams never really had an opportunity to run the ball. Played against Jacksonville, which that defense held them to only 200 yards, but the Jacksonville offense is nowhere near as good as this Bengals offense is. And then also the Minnesota Vikings, which is a very dynamic game. They held them to 67 rushing yards. But once again, that was kind of a back-and-forth game, and Minnesota is definitely better at throwing the ball than running the ball. So I think the Bengals have an opportunity here to really have a balanced offensive attack by using Joe Mixon and then creating space and opening up lanes for Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, who had himself a game last week as well, Tyler Boyd, and C.J. Uzomah. And so it is going to be a huge one, and if the Bengals lose, I mean, it's going to put them in a really tough spot because there's a lot of key AFC matchups this week with other wild card contenders. The 49ers still have an opportunity because they do own a couple of tiebreakers against some teams beneath them, also with some other games coming up that they can definitely win. But what do you think the final result's going to be, and why do you think that team's going to win?
See, this is going to be a really interesting one. I think it's going to be really close, and I think it's going to be relatively high scoring, so high 20s, maybe low 30s. But I'm going to take – I just think the 49ers are a better team. I like Kyle Shanahan a lot, and especially against, in my opinion, a very weak pass defense. I think they're going to dial up some plays, get Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle involved, and really kind of take advantage of the weaknesses that the Bengals have on the back end. So I'm going to say I'm going to go 34-31. A high-scoring endeavor, but I think the 49ers are going to win it with a last-second field goal. Okay.
All right. So I'm actually going to go on the flip side. I think the Bengals are going to win this one. They have another home game back-to-back. I don't think that they want to lose. Actually, their third home game in a row. So I think they're going to end this kind of home streak, or this homestand on a winning note. I think Joe Burrow, he did dislocate his pinky, his throwing pinky, and that's going to be something to monitor throughout the week. But I wonder if that might kind of inspire a little bit of creation on this offensive side of the ball, maybe force them to run the ball a little bit more, get the ball into Joe Mixon's hands, which will then open up the passing game. And they have a lot of weapons that they can throw to. I think it's also going to be a close game. But I'm also predicting that Deebo Samuel doesn't play. I know he's going to probably try and play, but I think having a groin injury is having a groin injury for myself. You're not yourself. And so obviously there's information that I don't know that's going on inside the San Francisco training room. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play. And if he does play, it'll be at a limited capacity, and he won't be nearly as effective. I think for that reason, I think the Bengals are going to win 27-24.
Okay, so we both have it being a pretty high scoring game. Both taking the over.
Yeah,
I think.
8.5 is what it is.
Yeah, 51
right now.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be a really interesting game.
This is going to be one. I agree.
This is going to be the 1 o'clock game that I'm going to watch. I think this is the 4:25 game, but this is going to be the 4 o'clock game that I'm going to watch. Then it's just both these teams need a win, and if they don't win, I think it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. More so the Bengals than the 49ers, but yeah. So other than that, I don't really have too much else to add. So I think we're just going to wrap up right here. If you have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. If you have not hit that bell notification yet, go ahead and do that so we can send you a message every single time we post a video. And leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win. And we will see you guys next time.